The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys!
This is Cowboys StoryLine with Nick Eatman.
What is up? Good morning. It is Cowboys StoryLine time. I'm Nick Eatman. Friday, December 15th. Cowboys getting ready to go to Buffalo. Haven't said that in 8 years. This is only the third time I've ever been to Buffalo for a Cowboys-Bills game. 2007, 2015, and now here we are 8 years later, 2023, Cowboys going to Buffalo. And from what I remember, the last time we were there, which I categorize as probably the worst road trip of all time, is that it was December. It was late December. It was raining the whole game, very cold, miserable. The game was worse than the weather, and it was bad. And then the road trip, the flight back was worse than all of that. So, yeah, and it sounds like I don't know about the game, but it definitely sounds like the weather's going to be about the same. With now it's turned to rain in the forecast, about 80%, I think. It's going to be pretty cold. I mean, not going to be Buffalo December cold, but it's going to be cold, windy, rainy. Fun times for football. See if the Cowboys are up for the challenge for that. So, all right. As I recall, the two games that I've seen in Buffalo, I counted 120 minutes of football that I've seen there, and I think the Cowboys were pretty bad in like 118 of those minutes. They came back and won in 2007, which was a memorable game, but it was pretty awful up until those final few minutes. Romo was his best worst game of his career, so I think that's a good way to categorize that. All right. Let's go. Let's get after the phone line here. 888-855-2297. You can text at 817-290-3298. We will start off with the phone calls. We've got Big Al in San Antonio. We'll start with Big Al. What's up?
Hey, good morning, Nick.
Morning. How are you?
I'm fine. Happy holidays to you and the gang down there.
You too. What's up?
Hey, I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna give you my wrestling.
Okay.
You remember the Briscoe brothers?
Briscoe brothers.
They're Florida. They're Florida wrestlers.
Really? No, can't say I do.
It was Jack Briscoe and Terry. You know the Funk brothers?
Terry Funk, yeah.
All them.
Okay.
They was around that time frame.
Okay. Briscoe.
I'm telling you, we're gonna be okay, man.
You think?
Rain, snow, cold.
Mm-hmm.
The Cowboys gonna do good. We're gonna hit them with the running game this week.
Got to run the ball. I mean, you have to run the football, and you have to have a team built for this type of game.
Right.
So, I think the offensive line is built for it.
Yes.
I think that they can be all right there.
Yeah.
That Tony Pollard, though, every time you kind of think, well, he's not this or that. He seems to kind of change opinions, and I think he's running the ball pretty well here.
Yeah.
So this could be a game for him. Sure.
Yeah, and Dow too. I think he's doing a good job. I have no things with him. As long as he do his job and Tony do his job, and Dak take care of the ball.
Right. Got to take care of the football.
Take care of the ball.
Sure.
I think we're going to do okay. I'm not changing my mind. I told you that a month ago. We're going to be okay.
All right.
So, all right.
Sounds
and y'all
good.
have a good time.
All right.
And happy holidays to you again.
Appreciate that. All right. Good start off here on the show with Big Al in San Antonio. Let's keep it on the phone line here. We've got Tyrone in Georgia. Tyrone.
Hey, Nick. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm great. I'm glad to talk to you. I'm glad the Cowboys listened to me. Last week I called in and told you how tired I was of them starting out with a run on the first series of the game. So
yeah,
I thought that was pretty nice.
Okay. Yeah.
I want to tell a story, a quick story, and then a comment about you and your show.
Okay. I hope it's a good one.
Yeah. At the time, this was like 92. I was living up in Topeka, Kansas.
Okay.
And this was before the internet.
Okay.
So I saw a little blip in the paper where some Dallas Cowboys were coming up to do a signing, like at a library of all places. And they passed out these pictures of the guys that were there signing. There was Drew Pearson and Preston Pearson. I remember more than any of the others. There were about 8 others. And I got the signatures and got to shake hands and all that. And then I left directly from there to go train my retriever. We were out shooting, and it was storm clouds started moving in, and dual tornadoes formed. And we were running back to the truck. It was pouring down. Opened the door, and the retriever jumps in, paws first, onto all my autographs, rips them in half, and they're all muddy, and I was brokenhearted.
Oh.
But anyway.
That's it? That's the story?
That's the story.
Man, okay.
That's back in the 90s, you know. I'm an old-time fan. What I wanted to say about you.
That sucks. Okay.
Yeah, the reason you're my favorite, I listen to all the podcasts. You have a good sense of humor. You know, you're not cutting up all the time like some of the other ones do. You have great football intelligence, but you're not arrogant about it.
Thank you.
You know your history, but you don't live in it. And
I like
you
that.
listen to the callers.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
No, I'm listening to the callers. No, I mean, I appreciate you saying that. I appreciate. I've never actually heard anyone say it like that. You know your history, you don't live in it. That's you know what? Because that's an interesting thing because a lot of people do. You know, I remember we had a guy that worked here one time, and all he could ever talk about was Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy did this, and Jimmy said this, and Jimmy did this, and it's like it's been 20 years. Like, stop talking about Jimmy Johnson. Like you know, to the point of, well, that's the way Jimmy would have done it. You know, and I always thought that somebody was living in the past, and so I never thought of it that way for myself. But then again, I've never seen an NFC Championship game, so what am I really living in? Like a wild card round? You know, like I'm ready to start some new history here.
Amen, brother.
All right. Well, thanks for the call. I wish that story would have turned out better. I was thinking it was going to be something really cool, like somebody, you know, Preston Pearson like saved the day, you know, with a tornado. But you lost all your autographs. That's not good. Sorry about that. All right.
Oh well.
Thanks for the call, Tyrone. Appreciate that. All right, let's keep it rolling here on the phone line. Bill in Pittsburgh next. Bill.
Okay.
What's up?
Hey, what's up? Man, I can't believe I got through to you here. I'm watching you on TV right now.
All right. I'm here.
Hey, so anyway, Pittsburgh Bill. I've been a Cowboy fan all my life. Born and raised here in Pittsburgh. But I got a couple stories, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
First story, I went to see Tom Landry inducted into the Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. And back in those days, they rushed everybody out of the hall and to where everybody would be outside. But some way, somehow, I got locked inside the Hall of Fame, and I got to meet Tom Landry, Roger Staubach, Ben Davis, Franco Harris, and a bunch of other guys. So that's my one story. My other story, when I got out of the Army, I was still a big Cowboy fan, and I came up with this idea, coming up with a T-shirt that said what did it say? It said America, Mom, Apple Pie, and the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
And everybody was telling me, wow, what a great idea. You should try to sell that. So back in the day, Dallas Cowboys had the Dallas Cowboy Weekly magazine.
Mm-hmm.
So I put in an advertisement in the Pittsburgh Press that I was going to I was looking for a model to advertise this shirt. Man, I got so many phone calls from so many women wanting to wear this shirt so they could be in the Dallas Cowboy Weekly magazine. So that was kind of crazy.
Nice. All right, that's good stuff.
But anyway, just thoroughly enjoy the shows. Being from Pittsburgh, I lived up in Buffalo for many years and still have a house just 2 hours south of Buffalo, and got a lot of Buffalo contacts. Just want to say go boys, beat the Bills, and I look forward to the game on Sunday.
Okay. Well, thanks, Bill. Appreciate that. Believe first-time caller. Not sure. Thank you for the call, Bill. Appreciate that. There you go. You got it. Here we go. Okay, could barely hear it, but yeah.
Right. Well,
Chris is out today, so we got Jazz and Josh running it back there. They're doing a great job. Still, they probably don't know all the bells and whistles of what Chris is doing, but sounds pretty good though. Here we go from Dak.
Here we go. And I got one more thing. You remember, since you're a wrestling fan, I'm not, but I grew up during Bruno Sammartino.
Okay.
You ever hear of him?
Yeah. Bruno Sammartino. Yep, he was in the 80s there for sure. So.
Yes, so actually in the 60s, I think.
Wait, then I'm thinking of a different guy then. Sorry, then I must be thinking of a different person. Yeah, sorry. All right. Sounds good. Thanks for the call, Bill. All right, let's. We got a text question here from Joe in Florida. He says, "How confident are you with the looming weather issue? Do we trust the running game?" Well, the running game hasn't been as consistent, but is it because they can't run, or is it because they're throwing the ball all over the yard? I mean, that's kind of the question here. And I, yes, you have to do what you do best. And I think what this team is doing best is they pass block better than they run block, and they're throwing the ball. The receivers are making plays better than they run the football. So, and they haven't had a lot of games this year where they have to just run the ball, run out the clock. We haven't seen that happen. Seattle was one where they did. That was the one game this year where they had to kind of run it out and win the game. And they did a pretty good job. They ran it down there, and then they got to inside the 10. And of course, we know they threw it, tried to score, and with a knockout punch, and it didn't ultimately hurt them, but it was questionable. And so most of their games have been, every home game this year, other than Seattle, has been, like a 20-point win. And so the Chargers game was close, but they weren't in position to really run out the clock. So we haven't seen a lot of times where they really had to lean on the running game. This might be one of those where you have to do that, or at least short passing game from Dak and the boys. All right, let's go back to the phone line. We've got Justin from Alaska.
Hey.
Definitely first-time caller. First time from Alaska. I think I called you guys out the other day. I was like, we haven't had a call from Alaska. Here we go.
And that's why I'm calling.
And I appreciate that.
First from Alaska.
I appreciate that. I need to start calling out more states. New Hampshire. You. South Dakota. You. All right, That's all I could think of right now. So Justin and Alaska, that's all right. Great.
Yeah, I was driving through a blizzard. I'm a truck driver up here, and you called me out, and I'm like, well, I'll be the first one.
Wow, appreciate that, man. Driving a truck in Alaska.
Yeah, it's been a fun winter. But I wanted to just something. I've been a Cowboys fan for a long time. We were able to come down in 2016 for that beat down on the Eagles in overtime with the Witten catch. That was the first game,
which I have a story for that. I'll have a story for that on that game when you're done.
That was an expensive trip, and
we
bought it right before Tony Romo went down with that injury. We're all excited about going to see Romo, and right after that game, and literally 2 or 3 days before that game where he got injured, we bought our tickets for that game.
Nice.
And we're like, are you kidding me? And we thought the season was shot. But
yeah.
Anyway, the thing I'm noticing about this season is, man, we're playing great, but when we start racking up like the pass interference penalties, I noticed that when like the other day against the Seahawks when Bland was getting picked on, I noticed once they got a couple of those pass interference calls, he kind of backs off a little bit. And I rewatched and went back to a couple other games where they're getting that pass interference early in the game. It just seems like that really stops them from playing wide open.
Being aggressive. Yeah. Well, and that is natural because pass interference is such a costly penalty. You have to watch how aggressive you are. You have to play to how the game is being called and adjust. So I think it's unfortunate. I hate when they call it that tight because the defender has no shot. I mean, it's hard enough to guard these world-class wide receivers anyways. And then when they call it that way, it makes it really tough. And as long as they're consistent, though, just call it that way. If you're going to call it the whole game and call it for both sides. That's the way I look at it.
Right, and I noticed Bland because I rewatched that game because I was like, why did Bland have such a rough game? And I noticed it seemed like that was what pulled him out of that game. I don't know, that could have been just me, but he could have just had a bad game. But I noticed that before when they've called it that tight.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'll let you go.
Right.
I just wanted to make sure I was the first one from Alaska.
So you got it, and that's good. It sounds like you're next door. I mean the way the call is. I mean it's a perfect a reception there. So all right, thanks Justin from Alaska. Our first we can knock that state off the list. I'm really gonna have to do a deep dive now and make sure that I'm not leaving somebody out. But I really think South Dakota and New Hampshire. I'm sure there's a couple of others, but those two right now. Maybe Wyoming. I don't remember Wyoming. We did have one from Montana, but not Wyoming. So those are the 3 states, I think. Still looking for calls from there. Never had a caller from Northport, Florida. At least not today, at least until now. Dylan, Northport, Florida. What's up?
Hey, Nick. How's it going?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good, dude. Hey, just I want to give you a quick analysis here on the Bills and then give you my score prediction.
Okay.
All right, so Bills defense is just kind of so-so. They were really good to start, but they got lots of injuries. And specifically in that secondary, back-end safeties, they've got a nickel cornerback who's not playing that well right now, and he really struggles against fast receivers. So I'm looking forward to hopefully Mike getting Cooks or Turpin matched up on him here and there. Might be a good potential for some deep balls, assuming the weather doesn't switch into anything crazy on us there. So we'll see on that. And then Josh Allen. I don't know what to say about Josh Allen. His legs scare me, obviously, and we struggled in the past against some running quarterbacks, but it looks like we've tightened up lately, so hopefully that continues. But, man, I'm just waiting for him to turn that ball over. I'm hoping Dallas can get a couple of picks this game. If they have to be aggressive.
Was it 9 in a row? Turnovers. 9 games in a row he's thrown a pick?
Yeah, I mean, it's bad, but he's MVP, though, according to Dan Orlovsky, but we don't need to go there. But
recently? Like, that was early in the year, not like recently, right?
No. Did you see what he said just the other day? No. He said if the Bills win this game, then Josh Allen vaults into the MVP leader. I don't know about that, but yeah. So he's getting blown up pretty good on that one. I don't see that happening. But I think Dallas to come away with a defensive touchdown. I'm going to say it's going to be Bland just for the fun of it because that'll be awesome to see.
Yeah.
So
it's been a couple weeks.
Been a couple weeks. I know he's past due. Like, what is he doing? He needs to get his act together.
Right.
Here. Come on. I need a new injury here. I got to practice some other Deron Bland move here on my carpet or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say the final score is going to be 34-24. Bland defensive touchdown, and Dak throws the ball up and down the field all day.
Nice. All right. So you're not worried about the weather. He's like all day, just throw it up and down.
Nah.
Cool.
Weather schmether. Nah, we'll see. It keeps changing, so I don't really know what to expect about the weather, but it keeps changing every 2 seconds. I guess we'll see.
Love it. All right. Weather schmether. All right. Appreciate the call, Dylan.
Thanks,
all right. Let's go to Dennis. He's in Pennsylvania. Dennis.
Yes, sir.
How you doing? You're on.
Great. First-time caller.
All right. There we go. Way to lay out for it. Appreciate that.
Well, 32 years ago today, I walked into Veterans Stadium. We had been beaten so many times by Buddy Ryan and those rotten Eagles. And the winner would be going to the playoffs. The loser would be going home. And Kelvin Martin broke their heart.
One of my favorite plays.
5 yards.
Kelvin Martin.
Amazing.
And who did the block at the end of that play? You remember that? Remember it was Isaac Holt. Isaac Holt just crushed the punter on that play. Yeah, but when Kelvin Martin did that punt return for a touchdown, I remember sitting in the living room with my dad. That's 1991. I mean, I hadn't seen him make the playoffs really until 6 years. And when they won that game to beat the Eagles to go and make it to the playoffs, that was one of my favorite games because it's like we did it.
Absolutely.
And you were there?
Yes. I was. Yes, sir.
That's awesome.
We went down, 3 friends, two friends of me went down. We ended up buying tickets off of a scalper in the parking lot for $205 and a 6-pack of root beer. True story.
Nice.
The guy would not give them up for $205. That's all we had. We would have enough money to get back home. We lived about 3 hours away. And he said, "What else you got?" And we had a pack of root beer. But
nice.
Really excited about this season. I'm thankful that we're starting to see some consistent play. We're not playing down to the competition. And my favorite Cowboy all time has to be, my first jersey I ever owned was Randy White, the Manster.
Cool.
And I've been through a lot of good times, a lot of heartbreak. Of course, the 3 NFC championship losses in the early 80s really, as a young kid, was really defeating. Yeah. But I think we got a good chance this year. Thanks for all you do. Love the show. Thank
you, Dennis. Appreciate that. That 91 game was so important because, not only was it the reason why, they finally clinched a playoff spot, but when you think about it's a perfect example of what how long an NFL season is, because back in like week 3 or 4 of that season, they lost at home to the Eagles 24-0, and Eatman was sacked 11 times to the Eagles. One game, 11 sacks. I mean, Nate Newton will tell the story. I mean, it was awful. It was an awful day, and it was like, this is the Eagles are here, the Cowboys are here. And as the season went on, they got better. They got better as a team. They started winning games. They got hot. They made it to the playoffs. And the Eagles, suffered some injuries or whatever, but then they go into Philly and win that game. It just kind of goes to show just that you got to keep going. You can't sit here and think week 3 or 4 how things are. I mean, look at this team. Look at them now. Look where they, where they were after the 49ers loss. And the 49ers are the best team in football, and they were that night, 42-10. And then to think the Cowboys now have won 7 of 8, I believe, 7 of 8. And the only loss at Philly, knocking on the doorstep, should have won that game. Had knocking on the door the whole fourth quarter, could have won that game and should have won that game. And then we found out a few weeks later that they are way better than them. So, or at least they were that night. All right, let's go. We've got Coach John in Lufkin, Texas. Coach John?
Hello? Yes, sir.
Man, it's been a while.
It has been a while.
It's been a while. You used to call way back in the day, and maybe you call some of the other shows, but I haven't heard from you in a long time. How you doing?
It has. I'm doing well.
Man.
Enjoying retirement.
Yeah. Well, this is a first-time call on the StoryLine. 100% first-time caller, Coach John.
Yeah. I've been a Cowboy fan since 1960.
Yeah.
My favorite player has always been Mel Renfro.
Okay. I like
favorite wrestler is Fritz Von Erich or Wahoo McDaniels. And
Fritz Von Erich. That's great. Yeah.
You can tell I'm old.
Yeah, well, I remember Fritz when he was managing his sons, but I got to go watch that movie. I know that movie came out, or it is coming out soon, Iron Claw. I got to watch that one. It's about him.
I haven't seen that. Yeah.
It's new. It's about the Von Erichs, and it, it's, of course, I'm sure it's sad, I mean, there's a lot of tragedy going on there. But so what do you think, man? What do you think about this team? What do you like about them?
I tell you, I like the fact that they switched the offensive line scheme up against the Eagles this time.
Mm-hmm.
They ran more that zone stretch.
Yep.
And they ran more. Y'all call it pin and pull. We always call it fast fold. But I've always believed if you have really big defensive tackles, you block them at angles or you get them on the move sideways.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. That's how San Francisco was able to run the ball against them.
Yeah, yeah. So you kind of use their size to a disadvantage almost for them. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Big defensive tackles don't move well sideways.
Yeah. True.
And blocking them at an angle is always smart. That's what option football does.
Yeah.
You block at angles, and you don't need that great offensive lineman to do that.
True.
But,
Plus, it doesn't matter how big you are. If you get them right on the hip, they move. You can move anybody.
Yeah,
you can move anybody if by hit with their hips. And if you don't believe me, just go find somebody and push them on the hip, and you can see they. I don't know what it is, but you can move them. You can move them off their hips. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I also like the way they're attacking the safeties on zones now.
Okay.
And
well,
I think they're going to have trouble with Buffalo because they have trouble with these quarterbacks. But I think they'll win by 15 or 16.
Okay, well, that doesn't seem like a lot of trouble. But yeah, I think Cowboys will take that all day long. All right. Well, Coach, it's good to hear from you. Appreciate the call. Glad you joined us here on the storyline. We're gonna take. All right, thanks for the call. We're going to take a break here on Cowboys Storyline. We'll be back. We got more phone calls and texts to read. Be right back here on Cowboys Storyline.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Cowboys fans, after that move, we've just coined the term Rowdy Replay. Let's roll back the tape.
Okay, there's our mascot Rowdy cheering on the boys. And now he's on his phone, on his Bank of America mobile banking app?
Staying on top of his finances with his virtual financial assistant, Erica.
Bank of America's digital tools are so impressive. Cowboys fans just can't stop banking. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/can't-stop-banking.
Erica is only available in the English language. You must download the latest version of the mobile banking app, only available on select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. Member FDIC.
Welcome back into Dear Doctor, the show where I answer life's questions with an ice-cold can of Dr. Pepper. Sheila, let's hear from our next caller, would you?
Dear Doctor, my friend supported me during a tough time, but what's the right gift that says, thanks for being a shoulder to cry on?
Okay, this one's easy. I say give her a delicious Dr. Pepper. Nothing says, thanks, girl, better than a one-of-a-kind soda. Yes, any Dr. Pepper flavor will do. Now, just a reminder that I don't need to be a real doctor to know that Dr. Pepper is the one you deserve.
They say champions are remembered, but legends are never forgotten. United Ag & Turf offers a winning lineup of John Deere equipment built to tackle any challenge on and off the field. Legendary John Deere tractors, combines, residential mowers, commercial mowers, compact construction equipment, Gator utility vehicles, and a full line of golf and sports turf equipment. United Ag & Turf, the official Ag & Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com to find a location near you.
Back to Cowboys Storyline.
All right, back here for the second half of the show. Since we only take one break, I hope everyone's okay with that. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Hurley from Vermont.
Hey, Nick.
What's up?
What's up? I am from Groton, Vermont. I heard you say the other day no one has called from Vermont, so I figured I'd give you a shout.
Yeah, I think we got a call, like, to start off the show a couple of days, or like maybe a week ago.
Well, I guess I'm day late and $1 short.
Well, you know what? You're still first-time caller for our show. Which gives you the Dak. Here we go, man.
My question is this.
Go ahead.
How much do you think the play calling will be affected due to kicking conditions?
Yeah. You talking about calling plays to affect your kicking game? Yeah, I mean, like, I think you have to see how that goes in the pregame. See what the wind looks like, which direction to kick, and all that stuff.
I know it's not going to be favorable.
No, it won't be.
No.
Then again, Aubrey's never missed a kick, at all. So we'll see. I mean, that's why pregame's so important, just to kind of gauge that. Let's see what they'll figure that out.
As far as the temperatures and the weather goes, hell, that's summertime weather here. We're good.
Yeah. That's not bad. I mean, we caught a break, Buffalo in the 40s. It doesn't sound like the rain is going to be. It's going to be fun to be there. To be in it.
Well, I don't know about how fun it's going to be in New York, but
yeah.
All right, man. I just wanted to call you. I love your show.
All right.
Keep up the good work.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, boy.
Get somebody from New Hampshire to call. That's what we need. Hampshire, but it's still awesome. Hurley from Vermont. Appreciate the call. It's our 8th caller now. We're gonna move to. Hold on. We got a text line question. I want to make sure I get in here. This is Derek. He's from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Should we blitz Donovan Wilson more for the Josh Allen matchup? I like it. I'm fine with that. Curse maybe as well. Got to do something a little bit different. That's the challenge. I think it's always the challenge when you get to this late in the season. It's, you want to be a well-oiled machine. You want to be able to be doing things. This is what we do. We do it well, and they can't stop us. But then you also want to mix up week to week. You got to try different things. And I think Dan Quinn is great. I think the best defensive coaches. Sorry, I got thrown off here on NFL Network. I see Quincy Carter rolling around, so I see Quincy and I'm like, what's going on? But I think the best defensive coaches are the ones that can figure out a way to teach it to their team in a unique way and to make it kind of simple for them, but not simple for the offensive coordinators and the quarterbacks and things to figure out. That's like the key. And so something like a Donovan Wilson, blitz off the edge every now and again or right up the middle or whatever. He's a playmaking type player. He hasn't made a ton of plays this year. He did the other night though. I thought he played his best game the other night. And it was a good time for that. So yeah, Donovan Wilson, he got the big contract last year, and got hurt in training camp, and that really set him back. And opened the door for some other safeties. But I think he's played well. He played well the other night, and I could see him doing something like that to kind of mix things up, a look that maybe Buffalo hasn't seen. All right, let's go to Chris on the phone line. Chris in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. What's up, Chris?
Nick.
What's up?
This is a real Nick Eatman, huh?
Yeah, it is. It is.
This is my first time, Nick.
All right.
Here
we go. In the flesh.
You have answered some of my text messages, but I finally, you went to the bathroom or whatever y'all did to take your break, and I'm like, I'm going to call now. And then I got in.
Boom.
Anyway, Nick, I'm so excited. Listen, I've been a Cowboy fan since I guess I was born in 1963 in Waco. And my dad used to sit us in front of the TV every Sunday after church and watch the Cowboys play. And you better hope they win because dinner was going to be a long dinner because it had to be real quiet if they lost.
Yep. Been there. Yeah.
My mom is now ill. I heard you talking about your dad the other day, and she's in a nursing home. She's been there for about six years now, but she was a huge Cowboy fan.
Yeah.
And she doesn't enjoy football anymore, obviously, but one of her favorite players and one that I met, the all-time favorite that I actually met was Roger Staubach.
Really?
And she used to say, Roger Dodger, everything, and then I was always intrigued with the man with the fedora on the sideline, like, Mom, who is that man with the hat,
Right.
So, anyway, I'm just glad to be talking to you. It's a great show, as everyone always comments. I listen to it every day, but I can't reach you. But anyway, so I just wanted to get to the point, and I've talked about this before. I've texted. But this is a historical run, Yeah. I have lived through the hard times, and I have lived through the great times. And I've seen all the Super Bowls all of my life, and, nothing like the 90s, obviously. But we won a championship. And I just remember Mike McCarthy in his press conference. That man, he kind of comes from a place of family, but he also has humility, and he has great experience. And I think it's starting to show itself. Fans just need to hold on tight because, look, we got 10 wins. We still have 4 games. This is a historic run in the process. So I'm a hopeful, like we are every year. But I just wanted to give my flowers to go to Mike McCarthy because last week proved a point that no matter what, whether his illness or whatever, the man was on the field, and I think this team is following him.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's a great run. We're experiencing a historical run in the process, and that's what I had to say.
Yeah, well, I think you're right. I think Mike McCarthy is shown to be a really good leader, and sometimes the best leaders are the ones that make sure they have a lot of followers. And I'm not talking about on Twitter. I'm talking about people that actually follow them. And I think you're right. I think this team kind of does. They follow his lead, and he's a tough guy from Pittsburgh, and he's showing it. He's showing it here for this team, and he's built a tough football team as well. So
that press conference right after the San Francisco loss, I saw a man that was down. Like he looked down at himself. It's like, what am I going to do? Yeah. And it just seems like ever since that was the pivotal point where we have started to see what we're seeing right now on the field.
And thanks for the call, Chris. Appreciate that. I'll kind of add to that as well. What did they do? Well, what they did is they went back to the drawing board. They said, all right, let's change some things up. We got a game, and then we got the bye. We got this Charger game, and then we got a bye. And we're gonna what are we gonna do? How are we gonna make some changes? You can't do a lot. I mean, as far as personnel goes, this is your team. So what did they do? They switched things up. They listened. CeeDee Lamb wants the football. Cool. Michael Irvin wanted the football too. So did Dez. You know a good way to kind of shut him up? Throw him the ball. Throw him the ball. Get him the football. They're wearing 88 for a reason. Get them the football. And this is how we're going to get them the football. Let's put them in motion. Let's put Cooks in motion. Let's move these guys around a little bit because we're playing right into the scheme here. They played right into the 49ers' hands. So now they're going to switch things up. Now we're going to go on and put these guys on the move. Now you don't know exactly where these guys are going to be. They made adjustments. That's what coaches do. Sometimes, he was defeated, but he wasn't down to the point where he's not going to make a change. And I thought, he did. I thought that this whole offense has done a really good job of kind of seeing, all right, this is how teams are playing us. This is how we're going to react. And it's always that cat and mouse game. I wanted to do another shout out as well. I got a message off of X Twitter the other day from Roger Miller. He's talking about his mother who passed away. I think her name is Jean. She goes by Nan. 85 years old. She passed away just this week. Emmitt Smith was absolutely her favorite player. They went to the Hall of Fame ceremony when he was inducted to the Hall of Fame, and she won the Hall of Fame football. And she just passed away. I guess it was just right after the Eagles game because her son, Roger Miller, said that he whispered in her ear that we won. We won it all. We won the game. And that was probably one of his last visits with her. It's amazing. Sometimes we just think it's football, guys. It's football. But it's not, though. This is a way of life. It's a way of life. If you're fully invested into your team, whatever it is, if it's the Cowboys, if it's your college team, if it's both, whatever it is, it's your passion, it's your life, it becomes your family's passion, and it bonds people together. It's why Thanksgiving games are so memorable because, you're usually with your family. And that story that the guy just said just now, I mean, Chris, I think, was it, that just said, sitting there with his dad in the living room, and that's what it was. And that's what being a fan is all about. So sorry for your loss there, Roger. But I think you're carrying on that Cowboy tradition for sure. So awesome. All right, let's go. Text question here from Arthur. He's from Spring, Texas. He said, I'm glad the league is looking at removing the hip drag tackle. And I said something about hips earlier. I wasn't really referring to that. But, yes, the hip drag tackle that cost Tony Pollard the season and maybe cost the Cowboys the season last year. That's the type of play. It's going to be hard to – I think it's going to be hard to enforce the way – because sometimes football happens so fast. We always see they slow it down on replay and it can look one way, but you got to remember how quick guys can bring guys down. I'll say this: the Cowboys would have won a game last year had Jaron Kearse done that. If Jaron Kearse had tackled the tight end from Jacksonville, Evan Ingram, if he would have tackled him out of bounds like that, or before he went out of bounds and just brought him down to the ground forcefully, that he stays in bounds. They have to burn their last timeout, and then they're not going to be able to go kick a field goal probably. That would have won the game. So he didn't do that, and you sometimes. But my point is some of these defensive guys, they think at all costs just get the guy down, just get the guy on the ground, make sure he doesn't score. And sometimes guys are getting hurt from that type of tackle. All right, let's kind of pick things up a little bit. Chris in San Angelo, Texas.
Hello.
How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well, Nick. You doing all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good. Thanks for having me on. Look, I just had two things. I was wondering, I don't know if it's been brought up this week because I haven't. This is my first time to be able to get on or watch. Al Harris, I've noticed he's been getting some notoriety from around the league. I've heard his name twice on the NFL Network during this week.
Okay.
What is your level of concern with him maybe, going off to greener pastures or something?
To be
as
like
in like a
coordinator.
DC coordinator. For
I mean, if like if Dan Quinn left, he could be like the DC for him maybe. Yeah, I mean, I think that would be a concern. I mean, it is a concern because we haven't seen the cornerbacks make this many plays in a long time. I mean, let's go back and look at 2021 to now. I mean, cornerback has 11 interceptions, and then last year, a rookie, 5th-round pick, gets 5 to lead the team, and then the next year, that same guy in his second year has 8 with 5 touchdowns. I mean, we haven't seen corners make this many plays, and I think assistant coaches don't get enough credit. And I think a guy that's played in the league and played with the swag that Al Harris played, I think he deserves a lot of attention.
Yes, sir. Well, I want him to get the attention. I just don't want him to leave.
Sure.
The only other thing I had is a very random question. I know everybody's been talking about the weather this week. So since I know that you spent a lot of time in Oklahoma and then you went to Wichita Falls for higher education, what's the closest you've ever
tornado? You're going to ask me about a tornado, aren't you?
Yes.
Wichita Falls is known for one in 1979.
I was wondering what the closest you've ever come to that.
Yeah, it felt like in Oklahoma, it felt like it happened a lot. Like always a scare about it. And so I'll admit, when I was younger, man, I did not like weather at all. I was always afraid of tornado, always afraid of that. I just because living there, you seem to like hear stories and stuff like that.
Those are some rough spots.
Well, I'll say this: I don't know if it was tornado, what it was actually officially called, but I mean, I was in the Cowboys, bubble, if you will, that collapsed here in 2009, May 2nd, 2009. Okay. I was there for that, and that was, I don't know, I think it was a microburst or something.
Yes.
That's what it was officially called, but all I know is I was in a building, and then the building was on the ground. I mean, that was the scariest moment that I've been in. So I don't know, that wasn't really called a tornado, but it did tornado damage, and still does. It's still there's people still hurt from that.
Well, yeah, microburst caused a really historic crash at a DFW not too long ago, about 85, I think. Okay. But anyway, that's all I had for you, buddy.
Yeah.
You have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. Tell Mix Shots that we're talking weather over here. I know they're kind of the weather podcast of the group, but we're talking a little weather here. All right, let's go to Sebastian in Savannah, Georgia. What's up?
Good day, Mr. Eatman. How have you been?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well. I got to tell you, if I was suspicious, I'd probably be wearing my Cowboys hoodie a lot more often. I got in on the first ring, had a major trade. I'm a professional day trader and business owner. Had a major trade go through. So if I was suspicious, I'd definitely keep this Cowboys hoodie on, but I am not. So the recipe to success for this team was a bunch of guys having babies and our coach getting his appendix taken out. It's amazing. This has been a very fun season for me.
There's a lot of things happening here. You're right. There's like a different storyline every week, which is awesome because it should be a podcast called StoryLine. That would be cool.
Storyline for the storyline.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is what you're really seeing is just the maturation of the people on this team. You're seeing a lot of guys step up in big ways. You're seeing Dak hit year 8. If you remember when Romo hit around the same time, he really started cooking on the technical side of football. He had worked on his release and everything like that, and everything was growing. So I'm just going to give a quick progress report on the Buffalo Bills and what they have going on. They've been very consistent, but, the whole Cowboys parity comes into play. When you play the Cowboys, we're going to get everybody's best game. Yes. So the question is, can their best game defeat us? And I believe the answer is yes. But I don't think that this is a team that's going to take them lightly coming in just because they've been sliding a couple of games. And I do think that we get out the win. I think that this is probably going to be a little closer than the Philly game was. I did call that Philly was going to have a struggle to hit 18 points. I think this one ends about 24-28. 24-28 Cowboys.
All right.
You guys all have a great day.
I appreciate that. All right. Good stuff. Good stuff from Sebastian. Good luck with the day trading, as you said. All right. I think we got one more caller. We're going to sneak one more caller in, and we're going to finish this up. Chris, he's in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeah.
What's up?
What's up, Nick, man? Hey, this is my second time calling. I'm surprised I got on. I called the first time after the San Francisco game and, told everybody to keep their head up, man, because Big Mike had a lot of stuff in store, and, man, has it come to fruition.
Right.
I just want to make a bold statement, man. I've been watching this for a long time. I just like what we look like from top to bottom. I like our depth. I like the play calling. I like the attitude. I like the physicalness. I'm going to make a bold statement. Cowboys, barring any injuries, Cowboys are definitely going to the Super Bowl this year, and we'll be in multiple Super Bowls for the next 2-3 years. Dan Quinn isn't going anywhere. We got this thing locked down for a few years, Nick.
Wait. We're going to win the Super Bowl, but Dan Quinn's not going anywhere?
What's that now?
So you think the Cowboys will win the Super Bowl, but Dan Quinn won't go anywhere?
Exactly. You heard it. You heard what I said, Nick. You heard what I said. Why? We can get into this all day, but why? If they win a Super Bowl, Dan Quinn's in the absolutely best position he can absolutely. Jerry opened up the floodgates, let him build his own defense. He has Michael Parsons. I mean, where else would you want to go?
To a place where you're the head coach.
For what? To have a job for 6 months?
Nah, you go to the right spot. You go to a right
it's
team.
The right spot. Yeah, but I just don't see it. We'll see, but I don't see it.
I hear what you're saying, and I think a part of you saying that basically out of your own, wish. But you got to remember, everybody's got pride. Everybody, you want to be at the top. You want to run your show. And he's done it. He was close. He's close. Dan Quinn is the head coach for a team that lost 28-3, a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl, and he's obviously an outstanding defensive coordinator. But I guarantee there's a part of him that's like, you know what, I can do this. Bill Belichick coached the Browns. They were okay. Pete Carroll coached the Jets, I think, or the Patriots. And then he went to college and came back. It happens where you coach and your first time around, and then by your second time around, you're doing it totally differently. I guarantee you, he wouldn't be worth this salt if there wasn't a part of him that wants to be a head coach again. So if they win a Super Bowl, then I could certainly see that happen. It'll probably happen after this year anyways, I think.
We'll see. I just think they're just trying to poach. They're trying to, like the caller said about was Harris, the QB coach. Like they're trying to poach him. Of course, they want to poach Dan Quinn because I don't know. I just think he's in the best position, and I kind of get the vibe from him just watching interviews and watching how he talks that he doesn't have as strong an interest to be head coach. Like when they asked him about, are you gonna fill in for Big Mike if he's out? He's like, nah. Well, let's see if he's back first before we get into that.
Right.
So that's just kind of the vibe that I get. But man, you may be right, but I'm hopeful that they can lock this thing down for 2-3 years, man.
All right. Well, thank you for the call. Appreciate that. We are going to finish the show here. It's been a good one. You guys, great calls. Got a lot of first-time callers, first-time states, second-time states, all over the map here, from Alaska to Vermont to a few calls here in Texas. Great stuff. All right. Chris Beam, not with us today. He'll be back on Monday. But I'll tell you what, Utah Jazz and Josh Rodriguez, they ran it the board to perfection today. Appreciate them. Appreciate you guys all week long. Let's see what happens here, Cowboys and Bills. We'll be back on Monday to talk about it on Cowboys Storyline. We'll see you then.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!